All right, it is a busy, busy Wednesday, but we are here, joined now by Tim Staudt from News 10 Sports. How are you?
I thought we had all this brand new stuff behind us.
Just
here.
wait. I'll have to show you.
Oh,
Public
it's-
can't see that yet.
Oh,
You're going to love it, though. You are going to love this.
really?
Trust me, you're going to love what I
My
have to
love
show you.
quotient is a little more higher paced than that, for whatever that's worth.
Just wait.
But my curiosity factor.
That'll work. I'll take that. So we have a little bit of stuff to talk about. First of all, a big talker here in the newsroom was Michigan State's performance at the Champions Classic last night against Duke.
What were they saying here?
I can't say that on air.
They were critical of
Very critical, yes. Some
front runners.
MSU fans not at all impressed by what they saw last night. How about you?
Well, I wasn't surprised by much of anything in the entire doubleheader. I mean, you got, those other three teams are among the best teams in the country. And, I thought Kentucky and Kansas had a heck of a game, and Kentucky doesn't have all its guys. I think Duke's good. I don't think they're great, but it's November 15th. I mean, I'm trying to get through two more football games, and you're bugging me about the staff doesn't like the basketball game.
I am.
It's November 15th. They were an underdog to begin with, okay? They were a 2.5-point underdog, and they lost. They're having some issues right now. I'm not surprised. I was surprised they lost to James Madison.
Yes.
I was not surprised they lost to Duke, okay? And in 9 points, whatever. They committed too many fouls. Duke made too many free throws. State didn't shoot enough free throws. But I think you're always better when you play in games like this against. If you have national aspirations, you better play the best, so that you know exactly what you need to do and where you stand going through the season, as opposed to playing the cream puff. And what the biggest thing they have going for them that I see is I don't think the Big Ten's very good. So when they get into the Big Ten, they'll win more.
Wasn't it kind of like that last year?
And the year before, and the year before, and the year before. The only two teams that have impressed me so far to this level are Purdue and Illinois. So it's, to me, from what I've seen, Purdue, Illinois, and Michigan State. I mean, they're going to play Wisconsin here in a couple of weeks. I mean, they'll bury them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right.
And then, look, we're 4 months to the NCAA tournament. I won't even be alive then, okay? So you're going to have to figure this problem out with somebody else.
There is no angel of death coming anywhere near here in the next couple months.
It'll be old age. That's how long the season is.
It does feel like
the
that.
Season's endless. I mean, those guys will all have gray hair by the time they get to March. It's that far off.
So is this going to propel Michigan State to just turn it around? Because, I mean, you're going to have to turn around fast. Otherwise,
they play Butler Friday, and I don't think Butler's the Butler that beat them in the Final Four a couple of years ago.
Tell Seth Wells that. He's a Butler grad.
Yeah, but they were awful last year. I mean, they'll come in here, and they'll play better than Southern Indiana.
Right.
But they won't play as well as Duke. State will beat Butler, and then they get Elkhorn State Sunday. You can play in that game and score 20.
Probably.
That, what the Elkhorn State game does? Gives all the guys like the freshmen who aren't playing enough and don't like it, they'll get more playing time to try to keep him off his case. I thought there would be an issue going when they only play 5 guys. Football you can play 11 offense, 11 defense. But football or basketball, you don't take them out when they cross midcourt. You get 5 guys, they got 13. That's 8 guys that aren't playing. Okay, and they were recruited as good players. So it's inevitable that you'll have frustrated players that want to play more anywhere in the sport.
Right.
Anywhere in the sport. And they're going to have to figure that out moving forward.
Well, speaking of frustrated, there is a chance that Jim Harbaugh could possibly be unavailable for Michigan's 1,000th win that they are nearing. What are your thoughts on that? What?
I had somebody tell me that they think it's a long shot, who's a lawyer, that he gets a restraining order because the punishment from the Big Ten, quote unquote, is against the university and not against the individual, and he happens to represent the university. So, can it be proven that a restraining order should be ordered because of irreparable harm? Well, if it's against the university, they had no trouble beating Penn State.
right?
So that doesn't sound irreparable. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I just hear this stuff from these people that it is no lock since Friday morning that he'll get a restraining order to coach.
That's in about 48 hours. We'll find that out. So,
You know, this is just me. I think it would be fitting for the hearing that the Michigan pep band be there with the cheerleaders, just to get everybody in
that'd
the
be fun.
just to get them in the mood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to get them all in the mood.
Bring in some children of Yost. Why
Well,
not?
I mean, make a big deal out of this thing.
I've seen
Have that banner that's at midfield. The M Club supports you. Have that in front of the courthouse and let them all go in underneath
on the
that
stairs.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen
Let
court
the band,
cases just as crazy.
Bum,
Just as wild.
Bum, 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 bum,
right.
bum, 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 bum,
Guys
bum,
are-
bum. Let's go blue. I mean, just to get the kind of the proceedings legally going. You know what I mean?
I'm here for it. Nobody else in the newsroom.
Just
is.
the pep
I don't know
band.
if they're not here for your singing or just the whole idea, but
Just get the pep. Let's get some spirit into this thing. These guys are highly ranked, and everybody, it's America's team, for crying out loud. Treat them like that. They're America's team.
we will see. That court case happens Friday morning. And then speaking of America's team, not quite America's team, but some teams still
See,
left.
look what I did here now. By doing this thing, now I got this on the.
Now I got to clean it up.
That was my wife. Oh,
Well, we'll do this.
I didn't want to think what she would
A
have
couple
said.
more teams left in high school football playoffs. They play on Saturday, including Mason.
Is that Mason
That
there?
is highlights from Mason at Wild Lake Western. That's all I could find.
Mason, Portland, East Lansing, Ovid, Elsie, and Jackson Lumen Christie. Those 5 all play at 1 o'clock Saturday. Winners to the Fort Field and the state title games a week from Saturday or Sunday. This team plays Detroit King.
Yes, they do. Graduate Tanaya Jordan, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then why don't you have her on? Why are you asking me?
She's busy, but she does know about the game. She might be there, actually, in Chelsea.
I think all these games at this point are toss-ups. I think any one of the 5 left in our area could win or get knocked out. If that sounds like straddling the fence, that's exactly right. I mean, Mason got a tremendous break coming back from 12 down here against Walled Lake Western the other night. Because, it's one and done, man. I mean, in these things,
is.
not like the regular season where if you lose this week, you can win the next week.
Joey was telling me that he had about a solid 3 minutes of highlights alone on some of these players because they were doing so well.
You mean
But-
the high school teams?
Yes.
Well, they've all had it. Portland's unbeaten, although their best player is injured and won't play. The running back, Thalen, he's out. That's a big loss. They play Grand Rapids South Christian over in the Grand Rapids area. That's tough. East Lansing's red hot. They've won 10 straight. They score in the 40s every single game, but they're playing Muskegon.
They are.
So
Which one's going to be our game of the week? Do you know?
I think you'd have to ask Fred that. But in the semifinals, there was really no such thing on Saturday as a game of the week. They're all a game of the
They're
week.
all the game of the week. All right. Well, that's what we've got. Tim will be back on News 10 at 6. And thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Bum, 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 bum. Then you come in at that point.
Let's go, Blue.